Kia ora koutou. Today is Te Pore Here Sunday, the day on which we celebrate the 1992 Constitution of Te Hahi Mihinari ki Aotearoa ki Nui Tireni, ki ngā mūtere o Te Moana Nui o Kiwa. Our three tikanga church, a model of church unique to Aotearoa, which reflects our heritage as a nation founded on Titiriti o Waitangi, between our land's indigenous people, Māori, and the British colonisers, and our close relationships with our Pacifica brothers and sisters. 1992 is a long time ago now, nearly 30 years ago, and the finessing of this groundbreaking model of relationship continues. In 2003, commissioners, including our own Pip Colgan, reported back to General Synod on the achievements of this model. They pointed to gains for Māori in terms of equity, representation, independent resourcing, and greater theological and religious freedom, but serious underfunding of ministry, with only a handful of stipended clergy positions across the motu. There were gains for Pacifica in becoming an equal, integral and full member of the whole church, and for Pākehā, a better understanding of treaty issues, but a concerning lack of awareness of the need for change for many. But the report also reflected concern at a loss of engagement between Pākehā and Māori, and called for more interaction between tikanga. That picture is probably very much the same today. A good start, but still room for much growth, for ongoing mahi on the partnership to achieve an equitable distribution of resources and to ensure the mana of all three tikanga is promoted and respected. And that's where the connection to today's gospel reading comes in. In the gospel, John lays out the model for that ongoing mahi. Jesus tells us to abide in his love. He tells us how to do that, by keeping his commandment. And he tells us what his commandment is: to love one another as Jesus has loved us. What Jesus is saying is bound to cause trouble, upset the established order and call it into question. He's saying salvation doesn't depend on slavishly following the law given to Moses, that it's love that salvation is founded on. Suggesting that love is the key might seem fanciful and unrealistic. It's a radical departure from a winner-takes-all approach, or a legalistic, rules-bound take founded in the laws and understandings of just one of the parties. Like Jesus, the church stands outside the mainstream. It too could be accused of being out of its mind, with its high-minded ideas about love and inclusion. It could be accused of being unrealistic, possessed by fantasies of a world where justice and equity prevail. Following Jesus, the church can, and I would say should, be an unsettling voice, speaking truth to power, calling out injustice. Sometimes it does this simply by modelling ways of being in the world which suggest the possibility of greater respect, greater equity, more love. The three tikanga model is just such a model, an expression of our church's active commitment to greater respect for the treaty partnership between Māori and Pākehā and our Pacifica brothers and sisters. It calls all of us into active expression in the everyday lives of our congregations of the commitment to honour and love our partners. It doesn't say we've got it all sorted, but that we're committed to hanging in together in love, in aroha, The model is one of love for each other. Love is the foundation of everything and the pinnacle of everything. Love is what will carry us through the difficult conversations about how we work together as a three tikanga church. Or, taking a wider perspective, how we right the hurt caused by 80 years of failing to honour Te Tiriti and achieve justice and equity for Māori in Aotearoa, New Zealand. It's a loving attitude which will allow reforms like those we have just seen outlined for the health sector move towards addressing some of the inequities caused by our failure to honour Te Tiriti. My work in the health sector means I am acutely aware of the way our health system has failed Māori. Māori suffer more avoidable deaths than most New Zealanders, have lower life expectancy, and do not always receive the same quality of care. And the government has recognised that these inequities cannot continue. To ensure they do not persist, and in recognition of the government's obligations to Māori under Te Tiriti, our health system needs to support Hauora Māori in different ways. Rangatiratanga Māori over Hauora Māori needs to be strengthened. Māori need to be empowered to shape care to give real effect to Te Tiriti in the way health services are delivered. So, to champion the voice of Māori in the health system, the future health system will have a Māori health authority, with significant authority to craft care which better meets the needs of both Māori and other New Zealanders. Iwi Māori partnership boards will be strengthened to act as an influencing voice for iwi and Māori in each locality, so that Te Tiriti operates at every level of our health system. This means that there will be more deliberate investment in equity of access and outcomes for Māori, targeted support for Māori care providers, which will improve the reach into Māori communities, the diversity of service options, and improve health outcomes for Māori and non-Māori alike. Is this enough? Obviously the answer is no. It's a start, but it's not enough. Critics are already pointing to deficits and disappointments. For a start, the budget allocated to the Māori Health Authority is only somewhere between 3 to 6% of the total health spend. Then there's concern about what differences the changes will make for people using health services. If it doesn't change the experience of people, it will all just be a bureaucratic exercise. And add to that, control will sit with the new and huge super ministry. The Māori Health Authority will have to influence generic health policy and services from the side. We really need to keep our gaze on generic mainstream health services, our GP surgeries and our hospitals, which is where most of the problems to Māori are located. Most of the time, Māori won't be accessing kaupapa Māori services. They'll be lining up there at the GP and hospital. How will the Māori Health Authority make a difference to the way those services are delivered? And if you're wondering whether we really need a health authority, let me give you some illustrations from my own district health board, where we have identified areas where Māori are significantly overrepresented in morbidity and mortality terms. In 2016, we ran a pilot screening program for abdominal aortic aneurysm, or AAA, targeting Māori men. The case for that pilot was that Māori men are at a significantly higher risk of dying of AAA. Māori men are also at a substantially higher risk of dying of AAA than women. Only 40% of aneurysms detected in Māori are repaired by elective surgery, compared with 61% in Europeans. Reducing the 7 to 9 year gap in life expectancy between Māori and non-Maori men depends on programs like the AAA program. And then, just last month, we announced the pilot of another screening program focused on Maori. This time, a lung cancer screening program. Lung cancer is the single biggest contributor to the difference in life expectancy between Maori and non-Maori, with lung cancer the leading cause of death for Maori women and the second leading cause of death for Maori men after cardiovascular disease. Maori women's rates are more than 4 times higher, and Maori men's rates nearly 3 times higher than those of non-Maori. This makes lung cancer a major public health and equity issue in Aotearoa, New Zealand. The future National Lung Cancer Screening Program will be designed by Maori so that it works for Maori from the get-go, is hospitable in ways Maori recognise and appreciate, and invites Maori in culturally appropriate and engaging ways. Is this enough? Obviously, the answer is no. It's a start, but it's not enough. It's going to take a lot more love, and abiding in love, aroha at every step, because in the end, love is more important than all the money and fancy government structures we can throw at a problem. Love, aroha, that's it. Amen.